Growing up, my mom gypsy rosed me. She told me that I had many, many illnesses and allergies and diseases that I didn't have. However, to this day, I don't really know what is true and what is not true, and in some cases, I have to just assume it's true just to be safe. For example, anytime I go to the hospital, they ask me what medications I'm allergic to, and I have to tell them that I'm allergic to sulfa, because my mom always said that I go anaphylactic from sulfa. But I don't think that's true. I don't think I've ever been anaphylactic in my life. Same thing with bees. I'm super scared of bees, and I carry around an EpiPen because I don't know if I'm actually allergic to bees. I don't think I am. I don't think I've ever been stung by anything ever. But my mom says that I was stung by a wasp when I was 2, went anaphylactic, and almost... And then that turned into me just being allergic to bees. And I'm always very scared of bees. And I have kids now, and I don't know what's true for me. So I don't know what they are genetically exposed to or whatever. So I'm just kind of scared and anxious all the time about everything. Growing up, my mom always told me I was allergic to eggs, but obviously I ate eggs, so it would, she would say, oh, you can't have egg yolks, but if the egg yolks were baked into a pastry, then that's cool, that's fine. Or scrambled eggs, you can, I can eat scrambled eggs with the yolk scrambled, and that's fine. But theoretically, metaphorically, I'm allergic to egg yolks. My mom would also tell me that I was allergic to raw tomato and that it would make my mouth bleed. There was a time where my mom said that I was allergic to broccoli, and then one time I went to a diner with my dad and my grandparents, and I tried some broccoli soup, and I was super excited because I was like, oh, I usually hate vegetables, but I really liked this broccoli, creamy soup. And then I was like, oh no, I'm allergic to broccoli. So I called my mom, and I was like, Mom, am I gonna die? And she was like, probably. So I stopped eating the broccoli soup, and I was fine. My mom really wanted me to be autistic. One time she admitted it to me that she wanted me to be autistic so that she could explain to people why I was so insane. But I was actually insane because I was emotionally and sometimes physically neglected and had a really toxic relationship with my mother. But she would really lean into the autism thing, and like when I was in middle school, I really wanted to start wearing jeans because I wanted to be I wanted to fit in. And my mom was like, no, you hate jeans. And I was like, I don't remember ever wearing jeans. And she was like, yeah, when you were 4, you had some jeans and you hated how the waist felt. So I'm not going to buy you jeans because you hate jeans. And I was like, I don't remember that. I would like to try some jeans. And then she sometimes it would gaslight me into believing something. She would be like, oh, you've always hated big spoons because you always said it hurt the corners of your mouth to have a big spoon. And I would be like, I guess. And to this day, I use small spoons, but every time I'm just thinking about how my mom told me that I like small spoons, and I don't think I actually ever cared before that. Or if I did, I was really young and probably had a really small mouth because I was a child. Sometimes my mom would be cool and say that I was a genius. She would say that I had an IQ test and that I was off the charts. So that was pretty chill. Those lies were kind of cool, but I went to live with my aunt for a little while, and my mom told my aunt oh, she has this medication that she has to take every day, and it was a prescription. And my aunt looked, and she's on RN, and the medication was a heart medication. I believed that if I didn't take the medication I would die, but my aunt was like, nah, fuck that. And she stopped giving it to me, and I was fine. I always believed that I had asthma, and I thought anytime I got out of breath from running that I was having an asthma attack, so I used an inhaler all the time, and I also used the albuterol machine. And one time I went to my friend's house, and I was supposed to spend the night, but her mom took us to the park, and we were running around, and I had a fanny pack with an inhaler in it, like Carl Wheezer, bro.
This is my inhaler. It provides fast-acting relief of bronchial swelling due to asthma or allergies.
This was in the early 2000s when fanny packs were So I was running and I was like, and I opened my fanny pack and used my inhaler. And my friend's mom was like, oh, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then just to be courteous, my friend's mom called my mom when we got back to their house, and she was just like, hey, Desi's fine, but she did have to use her inhaler. I just wanted to let you know. So again, I'm supposed to spend the night at her house. It's the evening time. We're watching a movie on the couch. I'm getting really tired. I start to fall asleep. I wake up to my mom at their house hanging over me being like, are you okay? And then she had my stepdad carry me out and carry me home and give me the albuterol machine. And to this day, my mom talks about that and says that I had a severe asthma attack and I almost died. And because I was sleeping, it was because I was dying. Also, I did a lot of art, and sometimes my hands would start to cramp because I would be like holding a pencil for so long, and so naturally I had arthritis. There was a time where I would get like kind of like restless legs, like I would just get like kind of like cramps in my thighs, but my mom made it like this big thing where she got me a doctor's note so that in elementary school I didn't have to sit on the floor with all the other kids. When we did like story time, I was allowed to sit in a chair, and I knew that my thighs didn't really hurt or anything, but I thought it was really funny to like sit in a chair because then other kids would be like, you're supposed to be sitting on the ground. And I'd be like, I'm allowed to. And then the teacher would be like, yeah, she's allowed to. So it was kind of just like an elitist sort of thing for me. She also said I had Raynaud's disease. Anytime I had cold hands or cold feet, she'd be like, is your Raynaud's disease flaring up? And then the big one that she loved was lupus. This was in the early 2000s when like that show House was a thing, and my mom watched that with my stepdad all the time. I think that's where she learned about lupus.
I think lupus is way more likely. Treat him for lupus. And it's not lupus.
She would take me to the doctor all the time to like get blood tests to see if like my lupus was flaring up. And it never was because I never had it. But I had to get huge blood tests that like I've never, like to this day as an adult, I've never gotten this amount of blood taken. It was like big vials, and they would take like 7 of them, and I would be so dizzy. And to this day, I hate getting blood taken, and I am like, I have a vein phobia. And she would take me to a children's cancer doctor because he was the only dude in town that would like do this. And I think it was because he was a pervert. Because even when I was a kid, like I got a weird vibe from him. Like I could tell that he was like being weird with me. Like I'd be like 9, 10, and he would be like tickling my belly. And just the way he looked at me, like he looked at me like I was like food that he wanted to eat or something. You know what I mean? He'd always have like a string of saliva like connecting his teeth. And he was just nasty. Anyway, let me know what your mom lies about in the comments and follow for more of me.